And so here's where I'm trying to lead it. What I'm trying to say is that if you're willing to compromise enough with the system to vote, and you're willing to reduce the harm, and you take a look at what is out there, and because I know how you feel about this, and I know I'm going to get attacked as soon as I say it, Dr. Rand Paul is, see, he is that, he's exactly middle ground.
No, he's not.
Exactly what he is. That's exactly what he is.
No, Rand Paul is nowhere near middle ground. Rand Paul is he's a Republican who wants to do Republican-y things. He is supporting, throwing millions of dollars at Israel so that they can, go on an offensive against Gaza under the guise of defending themselves. He wants to continue the drug war. Rand Paul is a horrible liberty guy. He doesn't even call himself a libertarian.
No, he does not.
He calls himself a libertarian Republican. He never uses the term libertarian without the term Republican attached to it.
Wait. Just hear out this guy's opinion. So, Rand Paul may be doing all of these terrible things, but what is he doing better than the other candidates?
Nothing.
All right, let's get Pizza Guy's answer on this. Go ahead, Pizza Guy.
Everything he does is better than everything.
Hold on.
No.
You said everything. He co-sponsored the Let's Support Israel's Bombing of Gazan Children bill. How is co-sponsoring a bill to support Israeli bombing of children better than anything that anybody else in the Senate is doing?
Can I tell you? Please, I'll tell you. Because everybody else wants to sponsor a bill that will kill 100 Israeli children. Rand Paul is out there saying, hey, how about instead we only kill 50 Israeli children? Do I agree with killing Israeli children?
He's not supporting killing Israeli children. He's supporting the Israeli military killing Gazan children.
But what I'm saying is that, look, obviously, in a pure liberty world, if Rand Paul were to suddenly appear with the positions he has now and the talking points he has now from a pure liberty world, they'd be like, who is this crazy person? He wants to take us from 0 to 50. But that's not the world we live in. We live in a world of 100 violence. And every single thing, you look at what he does. He has talking points.
The mental gymnastics that Rand Paul supporters have to go through to defend this guy is, I have to say, pretty amusing. And unfortunately, I'm going to probably get pretty sick of it soon because as we get closer to this election, it's inevitable that more people in the liberty side of things are going to start pimping this guy as though he's even a shadow of his father.
I've still got an open invitation to Rand Paul. I will debate you anytime, anywhere, any topic.
Hey, thanks for the call, Pizza Guy. I appreciate it. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. And when I was answering questions about like when I would vote for somebody if there was a stark difference, it was really only on the local level. I'm not under any sort of belief that anything's going to change at the federal level. Why bother with anything there? It's Free Talk Live. More coming up.
Okay, cool. All right, the number one issue to the Republican Party, it's more important than abortion, is Israel. And you are never going to be able to win a Republican nomination unless you support Israel. As we saw with Ron Paul in 2012, libertarians are not enough to be able to win the Republican nomination for president. So Rand Paul needs both the Tea Party and he needs the libertarians to be able to win this thing.
So how's that going to play out? Because you can't have me as a liberty-minded person unless you're going to actually talk about freedom. So he's not going to get real libertarians on board, in my opinion.
Well, like he was talking level of violence. Okay, if Rand is like a 40 or something like that, and everybody else is a 90, then wouldn't you rather have Rand Paul be in that position where we continue moving that puck down the field?
If Rand Paul were a 40, then that would probably be a good thing.
There's no
but
evidence
Rand
for
Paul's
that.
like an 87.2.
But we're not talking about Mitt Romney versus Barack Obama here. We're talking about Rand Paul, who does have more liberty views than the rest of the field.
What ball are you going to run down the field with this guy? I mean, nobody's run the ball down the field at all. Even when Ron Paul was elected, the Liberty, if you're talking about the Liberty ball, that thing didn't move anywhere.
This is Rand Paul, the guy that said...
Because he scared the living crap out of Republicans.
Hold on. Rand Paul, the guy that said, and I quote, If someone comes out of a liquor store with a weapon and $50 in cash, I don't care if a drone kills him or if a policeman kills him.
Liberty.
In
Right
New
there.
Hampshire, it is legal to carry a gun into a liquor store. It is also legal to have $50 when you come out of said liquor store.
Shouting across.
I know that you are smarter. Sorry, I apologize. I know that y'all are smarter than that to think that that statement was accurate. That he really believes. I mean, he's playing politics, and I think he's doing a fairly decent job at it.
This is what it really insults me, by the way. And this is one of the reasons why I can never support Rand Paul. Because if what you're saying is true, and I'd like to get Ellen's opinion about this, but if what you're saying is true, this is a common refrain when it comes to the liberty supporters of Rand Paul. They'll excuse the things he says about violence and
the things he votes on.
Right, and the things he does and the things he votes on and, all the bad stuff out there about Rand Paul. They'll excuse it all by saying, oh, he's just running a game on you guys. He's just scamming everybody. He's just acting like a Republican so he can get in and be his father and totally be liberty-oriented in office. But he's waiting until he gets to the presidency because right now he's a senator and he's still got to play politics until he can finally win the presidency. And then we'll have our glorious libertarian revolution. And I'm sorry, it's just absolutely ridiculous and totally unbelievable because if somebody actually has principles, but then obscures those principles for the purposes of getting elected, I don't trust that person. That person's a liar and making the excuse that, well, they're a politician. Yes, you should support them. They're lying to get into office so we can all be free.
But
That's going to work
are
out.
paid for that. That is their job. They are paid to make statements that are oftentimes not true.
Sure, but do you want to support a liar?
No, and I think it's very sad that people are being duped like that.
Even if it's true, even if the conspiracy about Rand Paul is true, and that is that he's really the secretly liberty-oriented guy who's running as a Republican in order to get into office, and then he's going to throw off the cloak of darkness and lead us all into the light, then you're being dishonest right up front. And so to me, that just negates anything good that you would do later on. You've used duplicity. You've used deception in order to get into office. And I don't find that's very a cool thing. And some of the Free State Project participants are doing this. They'll pretend like they're not Free Staters or something. Or when asked the question, they'll try to dodge the question. Own up, man. Own up to what you believe in. And stop beating around the bush about this stuff. If we want people to come to the ideas of liberty, we're not going to sneak them into it. We're not going to get them through the back door. They're going to have to come to the ideas on their own volition, not because some politician lied to them and then turns the tables on them. And by the way, even if that were true, even if Rand Paul were to get elected, he still wouldn't be able to change much of anything.
I think that if somebody was if that story about Rand Paul is true, that when he gets into office, he's going to, unveil himself as this massive liberty proponent, then, I wouldn't be too upset with that. I mean, sure, there'd be a lot of people that are upset that now they're being, forced to be free or whatever, but, I mean, I would feel better about that than, voting for Rand Paul, hoping that he's going to end up doing that, and then finding out afterwards, well, I guess I was wrong the whole time because he's just the same as every other politician.
Josh, any final thoughts? Go ahead.
Yeah. Do you remember when Ron Paul was asked about gay marriage? He said, I don't think the federal government I'll never use federal power to enforce my viewpoints on anybody. Mm-hmm. When Rand Paul was asked that same question, he said, we can fight the gay mafia better at the state level. You see what I'm saying? That's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about here.
Sounds like a homophobe to me. It's certainly going to get my vote.
No, it's not a homophobe statement, or because the policies are exactly the same between him and his father. He just says it in a much different way that red staters absolutely will eat like red meat.
Thanks for the call tonight, Josh. I appreciate hearing from you. I don't get excited by liars and people who deceive. I mean, Rand Paul might as well be a narcotics cop as far as I'm concerned. Same level of scumbaggery, in my opinion. 855-450-FREE. Nathan in Texas. You're on Free Talk Live via Skype. Hi, Nathan.
Hi. About Rand Paul, I think a lot of people expect him to be just like his dad, and I don't think that's very realistic.
No, I think you're right about that. But inevitably, that's to whom he will be most compared. And the fact is, he can't hold his dad's jockstrap.
Yeah, well, a lot of people expect, if he's been raised by this man, then he'll have some residual beliefs, at least similar.
Apparently, that's
in
about
some
all
way.
he's got is a residual belief.
You just expect that like there's similarities between father and son, and maybe there could be a slight chance that his ideology is similar, but I don't think that if you look at his actions, you could actually draw that conclusion. It's just if you just hear the names and kind of know that they're related, you might assume that.
And another thing is that even if he is elected, consider the possibility of what he might do to the reputation of people involved in the libertarian movement.
Right, there's a lot of people out there that do that, though. I don't think it's just Rand Paul.
Because if he makes compromises or does nasty things, then people can say, "Oh, well, that's
libertarians.
what you libertarians are about."
Oh, you guys support war and destroying immigration and immigrants and blah 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 and all these things that he supports. He's not a libertarian, and you're right. He's already doing damage, though. I mean, even without being elected,
this is what happens when you're a collectivist.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.